Women Innovators. Interviews with women with big messages and big missions, sharing their stories to inspire you to live your passion and step up to make the world a better place. Here's your host, Tami Patzer.
Hi, this is Tami Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce today's guest, Dr. Kelly Barbour-Conerty. She is a mother, teacher, marathoner, and Amazon #1 bestselling author of The Grieving Parents Club, How to Survive, Cope, and Heal After the Death of a Child, a book dedicated to her beautiful daughter, Lexi, who died more than 10 years ago in a car crash. Since the day Kelly was painfully initiated into the Grieving Parents Club, other members have been there to help, support, and encourage her in the darkest hours. Now, with this book, Kelly hopes to offer hope to other grieving parents and make sure they know they're never alone in their journey. Kelly lives with her family in East Central Illinois and recently formed a nonprofit organization called the Grieving Parents Club at grievingparentsclub.org. And it's based on the powerful love and support that grieving parents show each other on a daily basis. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you, Tami.
I know that even after 10 years, being a parent of a child and having the courage to write this book, I really admire that because it's obvious to me that this type of support is really needed in the world. So can you tell me a little bit about your story?
Sure. The book is using my story, the story of Lexi, and things I went through, but it's not about me. I didn't want it to be a memoir or an autobiography. I just wanted to use my story as a way to show other parents newly initiated into this horrible club that you can survive. You can smile. You can have a good life. You are forever changed. And so in the book, by explaining my journey, things that I went through, help I received from other members of the club, that my hope is that other parents won't give up. And so this came up, the idea of writing a book about things I'd learned over the years since Lexi's death had been in my mind for years. Last year was the 10th anniversary of her death, and so as I spent a year kind of mentally preparing myself for that milestone, I thought, you know what, I have learned a lot. I'm not a trained therapist. I don't have all the answers. I don't have an instant fix, but I have learned a lot through personal experiences as well as advice from other parents in the club over the years that I thought, I wish there had been a book like this when Lexi died. And so I kind of thought, well, I'm going to write the book I wish I'd had. And so I start talking about my Lexi. Oh, my gosh. She was beautiful, talented. She had a constant, huge smile on her face. And so I really want people to get to know her and how much she loved life by telling sometimes silly stories in the book and just getting to know what a wonderful person she was and how she had a positive impact on her friends and the community. And I talk about her hopes and dreams and how one of her major goals in life was to become a high school varsity cheerleader. And after a couple of years of not making the squad and having disappointments, in pure Lexi fashion, she didn't give up. She didn't quit, even though she'd had disappointment. And the third year of trying, her sophomore year of high school. She made the squad. She was floating on air. She had, seriously, a constant grin on her face. And by the end of the school year, the shoes, the first part of her uniform, her cheerleading shoes had come in, and she was not going to wear them. She was not going to touch them until cheerleading camp, which she was planning to go to with her friends. And so she would just kind of admire her shoes because those were tangible proof that she hadn't given up, that she kept on, and she achieved a goal. And unfortunately, she never got to wear those shoes because Wednesday, June 28th, 2006, on her way to the church youth group to see her friends there, she had made some bad decisions. A mile and a half from our house, where we live in Illinois, she was speeding. She was distracted, and she was not wearing her seatbelt. And she started to skid on a loose patch of gravel. She was an inexperienced driver. She'd only had her license for a few months. And she, after losing control, the investigators could see that she'd overcorrected, a very common mistake. The car hit a utility pole in a ditch and flipped several times. And because she was not wearing her seatbelt, she was thrown out of the car. And so instead of planning on her going to cheerleading camp and graduating high school and all of these wonderful things that parents do, I found myself planning a funeral, buying a headstone, and dealing with the worst thing that can ever happen to a parent, and not sure if I could survive. And in those early dark hours, I reached out to a couple of people that I had known for years, people from my youth that had also known Lexi, and both of them were longtime members of the Grieving Parents Club. And they gave me good advice. They told me what to expect over the next few hours, days, and weeks. They didn't treat me with kid gloves. Sometimes it was brutal. But knowing what to expect, knowing the waves of emotions that were going to come, was a huge help to me. And so taking their advice, along with now more than 10 years of meeting grieving parents all over the country and talking to grieving parents all over the world, come up with some common elements, common things that help us each to, as the book title says, how to survive, cope, and heal. Unfortunately, far too many parents give up. And I have known too many that have committed suicide. And it's hard, and you have to make an effort sometimes to just take it one day at a time. And letting parents know that they are not alone, that there are people out there who not only understand what they're going through in the early stages, for milestones years later, but that we can be, the other members of the club, we can be a shoulder to lean on. We can be the light. We can't take the journey for them, but we can help support them, encourage them, and let them know that it's okay. It's okay to grieve. It's okay but it's also okay to laugh. It's okay to have good memories. And so as part of the book and kind of this community, this is where I wanted to come up with some kind of community, and with the website and the nonprofit organization that was still kind of putting the finishing touches on, I wanted a positive, encouraging virtual community where people feel comfortable, where they can talk about their children, where we can celebrate the birthdays, where we can be there with a big hug and a smile and love to celebrate what some people call the angel anniversaries, but very much positive. One thing I tell parents is, I will ask them when they get in touch with me, I'll say, what is, present tense, your child's name? When is your child's birthday? They are our children. They may not physically be here anymore, but they are our children. And I want to celebrate, just like I have a younger daughter who's 13, and just like I celebrate her and her achievements and her birthdays, I celebrate my Lexi, and I celebrate all of the other kids in the present tense, because we are parents. Not were, but we are.
Wow. That is such a, it makes me just want to just listen to more. Your book, it came out in November of 2016, and it quickly rose up into the #1 best-selling ranks around the world. What can you say has been the impact of releasing such a powerful story and book?
One of the reasons I wrote the book is because I personally try to reach out to as many newly grieving parents, new members of the club, as possible. I travel around talking about teen safe driving, and I also talk to new members of the club, but I'm only one person, and just physically and geographically I can't reach everybody in the personal way that I like to. And so part of the reason for writing the book is that I'm not going to be around forever, and I can't personally be there for every person. But with the book, I want them to know, wherever they are in the world, that they can call me, they can email me, we can talk. I'm there from them. You feel very alone when you become a member. You feel like nobody understands your pain. And I want them to, where I had two people that I could turn to that I knew, some people may not have that. So with the book, with reaching out to them all over the world, I want them to know that they have at least one person that when they become members, they can call me, and just like I called my friends when Lexi died. And I have had emails, I have had text messages, I have had people join our Facebook group from all over the world, and just saying, thank you. You understand. You described exactly how I felt. Now I don't feel so alone. I hurt, but if you can laugh, if you can do crazy things like run marathons, I know there's hope for me. And so they tell me that the way the book is written, that they feel like I'm actually sitting there in their living room, having a conversation with them. And that's what I want. I want them to know that they know me. They have a relationship, and they don't need to ever worry about disturbing me. If they need to reach out, and I'm the only one they know, they can reach out to me. But with the Facebook group and the website and the nonprofit coming up, I want them to know that there's lots and lots of other people who are the best people in the world, who are there, who do understand what they're going through. I just spoke with a woman in Great Britain, and she was like, it was before the holidays, and she's like, I don't know what to do. I always, decorated with my daughter. We always decorated the tree, and should I even bother? And I said, well, there's not an easy answer. Do it. And if it hurts too badly this year, don't worry about it. And she's like, well, everybody wants me to get over it and stuff like that. And I kind of some of the best advice I got from an old friend when Lexi died was, and I talk about this in the book because I was just, first of all, shocked that she cussed. She said, Kelly, sugar, you're the mama. Don't you give a damn what those Yankees think. Mm-hmm. When you want to talk, you talk. And when you're done talking, you're done talking. And don't feel bad. You can be selfish for once in your life because this was your baby. And so after this was a nice Oklahoma Southern Baptist lady. So once I got over the initial shock, I realized that whatever I'm feeling, we each grieve differently. And so however we're grieving, whether it's sobbing, whether it's laughing, whether it's meditating, whatever we need at a particular time is okay. And I've heard from people who have not, friends or family of grieving parents, and one lady in particular, her older sister, who was like 59 or 60 years old, had just passed away. And she said, I was so mad at my mother because my mother wasn't crying and throwing fits and sobbing and heaving and dressed in black and stuff like that. And I was so mad at my mother because I thought she didn't care about my sister. And she said, after reading your book, I apologized to my mom because I realized she was doing what she needed to do, that she was grieving in her own way, and I couldn't tell people to grieve in my way. Every parent has to grieve in their own way. And she said, I am so much more understanding. And that meant a lot to me, that it's helping people be able to support their friends and family who are grieving parents as well.
That is really powerful. So you have the ways that people can connect with you. Obviously, they can read the book, The Grieving Parents Club, How to Survive, Cope, and Heal After the Death of a Child, and they can get that on Amazon. You talked about the grievingparentsclub.org, and you mentioned Facebook. Can you tell me a little bit more about other ways to connect with you?
Sure. Right now, because I want it to be good, right now when you go to grievingparentsclub.org, it will direct you for the time being to a closed Facebook group, Grieving Parents Club. And we've had so many people join. I'm glad that they're reaching out to me and the other members. I'm sorry also. Because there are way too many people out there. And it's positive. I'm a member of so many closed groups, grieving groups, and sometimes they just get depressing. And so, again, one thing I want it to be is positive and encouraging, but also safe. And really get across the point that kind of my motto and kind of the motto of the grievingparentsclub.org is you are not alone. And so you can do that. You can email me. It's Kelly, Kelly, at grievingparentsclub.org. I will be happy to, if you'd rather talk on the phone, I would be happy, to call your number or give you my number if you email me, things like that. I have talked to many, many people over the last 3 months, and my goal is, even when it seems hopeless, and you just can't imagine, your heart hurts so much. You can't imagine going on another day. My goal is to help you realize just one more day, one day at a time, and try to laugh. Some of my strongest memories of Lexi are the funniest memories, and it helps to laugh. But I want parents to know it's okay to laugh. And if they feel they need permission, they can absolutely get in touch with me. And I want to hear about their children. Our children are so special, and they're all amazing, and there's all sorts of amazing stories. And I have talked to, emailed, either on the phone, talked to, or in person, people who had children who were stillborn, had children who have died of cancer, other diseases, accidents, incidents, murder, suicide, anywhere from, again, from an infant up to 60 years old. And there are babies, and they're each special. If I want to hear these amazing, wonderful stories, and that seems to help parents. And I know when it helps me, because when I'm reaching out to others, when I'm helping them take one step at a time, one day at a time, when I'm focused on making sure that they're okay and that they're smiling and living life, that helps me. That kind of takes the focus off of me, and I don't have a lot of time for the kind of the woe is me pity parties, and that's not really my personality. And so when I tell my story, either in person, when people read the book, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for pity. I'm trying to help other people have the hope, and find a few coping mechanisms that work for me. And I'm always open to new things. Different things work for different people. I run marathons because that is very therapeutic for me. Other people meditate or pray or garden or do other things. And so I'm always looking for more ways, because what works for me, what works for one parent may not work for another parent. So I want to get these other parents involved in really thinking about what helps them, because the whole purpose of the book, the whole purpose of the nonprofit, is to help grieving parents survive, cope, and heal. Your life has changed forever, but your life is not over. And you can still be a voice for your child, and you can still keep their memories alive and keep their spirit alive. But to do that, you've got to survive, cope, and heal.
Well, as you're speaking, I was just thinking about the legacy of both you and Lexi, because you turned that tragedy into something that is giving hope for hundreds, if not thousands, of people around the world. And when you think about that, it's like Lexi is right here now helping you every step of the way.
Oh, she is. She is with me, and I remember her smile. Her smile is always with me. Her spirit, how much she loved her friends, she loved everybody. And I know that she would be 27 now, but I know that she is, first of all, she's laughing at me. I'm going to be 50 on Sunday, and I know she's thinking, my mother is old, but my mother is crazy, and I love it. Because she was always telling me to loosen up. So I'm sure she approves, and she's laughing down at me.
I definitely feel that love from her coming through right now. So everyone, I thank you for everyone listening, Kelly, because I think you definitely are offering that help and support and encouragement that people know, and you're so generous with your time in providing the grievingparentsclub.org and Facebook group for this support system. And of course, the book is there so that people can start right there by reading that book, so that they can maybe glean some golden nuggets on that journey, because like you said, you just have to keep going one day at a time and find the way for you to make it through so you can survive and cope and heal after the death of a child. So Kelly, thank you so much for taking your time with me today.
Oh, thank you, Tami. I appreciate it.
This is Tami Patzer. Go make it a great day.
You've been listening to Women Innovators with Tami Patzer. To learn more, please go to womeninnovatorsradio.com. And please do subscribe and share to spread the big messages and big missions to change the world.